Some of the most remarkable people in this world don't appear on movie screens or in sports arenas. They work in offices, study in classrooms, and raise families at home. They're just ordinary people like you and I. Ordinary people who happen to have experienced something extraordinary and survived. Off the Map is a travel television series I directed and shot over a 12-year period. Unlike most explorer stories, these modern travelers are women. Ordinary women who agreed to be filmed taking journeys to extraordinary places. On the Labrador program, I was joined by my female host, Michelle. Our intention was to travel to Nain, Labrador, and get to know the Indigenous people.
Labrador is pleased to welcome you aboard.
I'm traveling to Nain, Labrador. So I had to take 3 planes to get here. Each plane was smaller than the first, with fewer and fewer seats. As I was coming more north, there were fewer trees, and the trees were becoming smaller. It's a very rocky and rugged coast. You can only get here by air or by boat. There's no roads leading into Nain. I'd been flying for quite some time, and I was really amazed when all of a sudden appeared in the midst of all this wilderness was this town. The plane came down and landed beautifully right on this tiny little airstrip, and it was much as I imagined it would be.
Nain is the northernmost permanent settlement in the Canadian province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
I was really looking forward to coming to Labrador because it's such a rugged and barren place. I couldn't really imagine before how people would be able to live in such a place. It's inhabited mostly by Inuit people. In this town, there's only 3 main roads. Everybody here drives 4x4s because the roads are really rough. During wintertime, they can't even drive their 4x4s. They drive skidoos or these little 4-wheelers that they have. They look like these little buggies. There's 2 rush hours in town, one at 8:30 in the morning, all the kids walking to school, and the other one at 3:30, all the kids rushing to get home from school.
Nain has 2 radio stations.
I heard the people in the radio station were really friendly, so when I was wandering around town and I stumbled upon the radio station, I decided to go in and see how they did things here. They air each day, only for a few hours. They got their news and weather reports, which they had to translate there into Inuktitut. As language evolves, they need to come up with new words. For example, computer. Once they figured out it was like a brain, they actually call it a brain thing. I really thought that that was very interesting to see how the old language needs to be updated with the new current things that are happening in our world today. I'd heard about a very famous carver in town, Gilbert Hay, and I decided to go by his house and pay him a little visit. I was just amazed to see the way that he worked. He had big mask on and glasses, hat, and everything to protect himself from the dust that was coming off of this stone as he was carving it. Hi. I understand you're Gilbert Hay?
Yes.
I've been watching you work on this masterpiece here. It's beautiful. He was nice enough to take some time after he had done his carving and talk to me a little bit about it.
He has feet, legs, arms, hands. He has a hood. Everything is there except his face.
He's going incognito.
It could be anybody. It could be you.
So who do you think he is?
Could be the devil itself if there's such a thing. It could be God itself.
So, and this represents being faceless.
Yes,
This is the person in the night who you don't know who it is.
You don't know who it is. You don't know what it is.
Do you believe that the stone has spirit also? There's spirit in everything, right?
Yes.
including in the stone.
Yes.
So how do you work with that? How do you use that?
Well, a lot of the times when you playing around with stone and stuff, it has a fracture in it. That means that wherever that stone decides to break, then that's the limit I have.
What kind of stone is that?
This particular piece is locally known as speckled Labrador, right?
Can you actually go and find it in the hills here, or?
Girl, 10 feet under you, you're sitting on it.
I'm sitting on this. All right. Well, not looking anywhere as pretty as this piece, that's for sure. Like stone carvings, sealskin boots are a symbol of Inuit culture. I wanted to learn how these boots are made, so I had heard the person in town to talk to is Kate Dicker. Both her and her husband George are very respected in the community. Hi, are you Kate?
Yeah.
I'm Michelle.
All right.
Kate and George showed me some great old photographs of them when they got married. They also showed me a photograph of when they go out hunting for seals, they need to camouflage themselves. So what they do is they carry this great big white screen which they hold up in front of them as they walk across the ice, approaching to where the seals are. She has been making sealskin boots since she was very young, and she showed me the whole process. So you're scraping the outer layer off. Oh, I'm making scratches on this. All right, so once you've scraped the skin, what's the next step?
After that, you got to sew it with your teeth like this.
You soften it with your teeth. I'll be eating seal meat. That's very hard. Tastes a little salty. So you chew it to soften the skin, so it's easier to sew?
Got to be right soft before you start to sew it.
So do you still chew it yourself?
I used to not know because I got no more teeth.
You lost your teeth from chewing.
Like this, you can feel it the inside.
Oh, it's soft inside. It was so stiff, but now it's soft. So once it's soaked, you're able to bend the shape up? Is that the idea?
Well, you got to sew it right.
This is where the seam is. And she showed me how the different parts are sewn together to create these most magnificent pieces of art. They were really most spectacular. It's a real craft, and unfortunately it's being lost. It seems that the younger people don't know how to carry this on, this tradition of making sealskin boots. Bye. Thank you. Hopefully, the young people will take an interest in their heritage to preserve it for the future. Nain, like all of Labrador, is an interesting place to explore. As I was walking down the street, I saw somebody working in the museum, cleaning up a kayak, so I popped my head in and spoke with Gary. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Michelle.
Gary.
Hi, Gary. I hope you don't mind my intruding.
No,
I'm interested in seeing what you've got here. Looks like a great kayak. Is it a kayak, a canoe?
It's an Inuit kayak made out of canvas, so it's not exactly a traditional kayak.
And the stitching is very fine, I see here.
Yeah, they've done some really good stitching. The stitching would have been done by women, and it's stitched so finely and creatively that the water just won't go through these seams.
And do you still see people out on the water on canoes like this or kayaks like this today?
Not anymore. You don't see them anymore out like this. People are using the fiberglass boats and with motors on them because it's a lot faster and a lot more convenient.
Are there other Inuit technologies that were used in the past that are fading out at this point?
Yeah, skin clothing starting to fade away a little. I mean, people used to wear all skin clothing. The caribou coats, the caribou and sealskin pants, all skin wear, I would say, is fading out. People are these days wearing the woods parkas with the down in them and these sorts of things.
Are there some initiatives being taken in the schools to try and bring back the traditional ways?
We've got a program in the school, the Elusive Boot program, and what that does is teaches the kids how to sew traditional clothes, how to make traditional items like the komatiks. They'll take them out on the land and show them some survival skills, how to make ulus, these sorts of things. So yeah, we do have a program. Plus we in the 1860s, drum dancing disappeared in Labrador. So 3 years ago we brought that back, and we did it through the youth here in the community.
Bye, thank you. The drum dancing sounded interesting, and I found the group practicing outside of town. It's mostly youth that have come together and are doing the traditional Inuit drumming.
Maslingo, Maslingo, Inup Kagasani, Inup Kagasani.
The rhythmic pounding of the drums of these drummers just echoed through the hills, and it was most chilling and heartwarming to hear. Because Nain is so isolated, this has led to the emergence of some social problems. I met with Gordon Obed, who took me to the local cemetery.
In the last year, we had 24 deaths in our community, and 10 were suicides and 1 homicide. And it seemed a lot of the elderly people got sick and died, while up to now, we've only had 1 death so far.
So this year there's only been 1 death so far?
So far, yeah.
That's positive.
Yes, yes.
And so you're saying that last year there were 10 suicides. It seems like a large number. What age group do you find are usually taking their lives?
Let's say somewhere between 18 and 22 was the most of them.
It's very young. What do you think is the main cause that's causing these young people to commit suicide?
I think one of them is loss of identity, where young people today are trying to find their identity as Inuit and still trying to get into the white man's way of life and not sure where they're at. I think that's one of them.
That's a sad thing.
Yeah, it is. Where before, going to my childhood days, things like suicide, alcoholism weren't around.
What would you like to see happen to make the lives of the youth in Nain improve?
I think what I'd like to see most is where the leadership in the community start to make themselves better examples to the youth, where that's not happening right now. My wish would be that once again the people will start to come to church and go back to the ways of their parents and grandparents.
It's a great thing that a community like Nain has a person like Gordon to be a role model to youth, and has great expectation for the youth of this community. I saw down the street there was a sign encouraging children to stay in school, which really warmed my heart to see, because so many kids do drop out. It's nice to see the community encouraging children to stay in school.
Fishing is the main industry in Nain. Traditional hunting and trapping activities continue through the winter months.
Inuit and Labrador used to be great hunters, and they still practice limited hunting today. Even though I had mixed feelings about it, I was invited to participate in a hunt. I went by Ron's in preparation for a goose hunt I'll be doing later.
You too.
I understand you're going to show me how to do a goose call here today.
Yeah, we'll try it.
And he taught me how to use the goose whistle.
Blow into it slowly, then a little bit faster afterwards. You want me to try it first?
Show me how it's done.
Okay.
That doesn't look too bad. Let me give it a try.
A little bit slower. You might need a bit more practice.
I think so.
Slowly and then a big breath. Dying goose.
I'm getting all dizzy.
Okay, slowly.
I was trying to sound lively, but I sure didn't. But once I practiced a little bit, I did get better at using the goose whistle. To find the geese, we had to travel by boat to an island. Can I come on board? So I borrowed a really warm coat and I met Ron by the docks. He took me out on his boat, which was quite an experience to go out on a little boat like that on rough water. At least I didn't get seasick. And off we go. Goose hunting we will go. Look out, geese, here we go. I had a lot of mixed feelings about hunting, being a bit of a pacifist myself, but I felt I wanted to do this while I was here because it's such a way of life, and I needed to reconcile this with myself. I passed you this gun?
Yeah.
Look at that, a big gun. Yikes! Another big gun. Wow, what a jump. Ron was actually brought up in this area in a cabin outside of the town of Nain in the real wilderness with 10 brothers and 1 sister. His mother is Inuit and his father is Caucasian. They grew up in this really remote area, learning to live off of the land. We came across a couple of Ron's friends. Have any luck catching anything yet? I'm the city girl coming here messing things up.
Hide in the grass for a while, I guess, eh?
So we just settle down here and wait?
Until we can get out to the rocks there when tide falls. Then as the tide falls more, we'll go on out farther.
Okay, I see. So as the tide goes down, we go out.
Yeah.
I feel like a cat waiting in the grass, you know?
Yeah, we got those rocks piled up there, look, but they're all knocked over with the waves again now.
His father showed him this spot, and he's always been hunting there for goose. It was sure a lot of waiting. So I sat there on that rock for many hours, waiting and waiting for these birds to come. Well, to me it was very traumatic to see this bird being shot down. The wing came up.
Oh, what bird shot covering up.
Oh. I know that it's normal, but it's kind of sad. No, I'm a city girl. Meat comes wrapped in plastic. I just felt sadness for this bird that had just been shot. Okay, I'm gonna touch it, all right? But as I sat next to it, feathers are all hanging loose. It looked peaceful, and I thought, well,
Yeah.
it's like some of the Inuit people say, the bird has given its life for life.
Yeah, it dries up there, not good for the gear.
And again, we waited for more geese to fly overhead. I had such mixed feelings about the hunting. It's a way of life here, though. Now, after being out hunting for the day, I really feel differently about it. It's the cycle of life. As these birds or animals are giving their life for people to survive on.
Michelle's conclusion was what this series was all about.
They caught 7 geese between them, which they shared up evenly, even though they didn't all shoot the same amount.
Recognizing differences and accepting those differences.
The life that I've lived is so different than the way that these people live. The life that I've lived has been so sheltered. If I was up here, I'd be totally lost. I wouldn't know how to live. I wouldn't know how to take care of myself. I went to a service at the church. This is the Moravian church that was built here in the 1700s. The attendance at the church service was very low. There weren't many people at all. It seems that for a few people in town, the church has become a really strong part of their life. However, I feeling I get there's maybe a lot of people that also have resentment towards the church. For some of the Inuit people here, I believe it represents the oppression that was imposed upon them. The whole service was in Inuktitut, including the hymns that they were singing. Gordon that I met earlier at the cemetery, his grandfather was also a minister at the church there. I've had a fantastic time here in Nain. I've found the people to be incredibly friendly and very open. There's a real initiative here to educate their youth about their heritage, about the past, and to try and keep that alive for the future. I'm grateful to all the people here in Nain, Labrador for having opened their hearts and their homes to me. It's such a beautiful, beautiful town. And I can just imagine when they're covered in snow and everybody traveling by skidoos. It must be very different from the way I've seen it here. I hope someday to be able to come back and to discover more about Nain. I'd be lucky to get that chance.